Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another, let's say, episode of the labs. So, in this lab today, I'll be implementing virtual networks. I have 4 tasks today. The first task is create a virtual network with subnets using the portal, which we're currently in right now. The second task is create a virtual network and subnets using a template, which is from like Visual Studio. The third is create and configure communication between an application security group and a network security group. And last but not least, the fourth one is configure public and private Azure DNS zones. So we're going to start with the first task, which is create a virtual network with subnets using the portal. So from here, we're going to go to virtual networks. And then from virtual networks, we're going to hit create. Virtual networks works in terms of like when you're trying to pair stuff up. If I'm trying to have like a private endpoint somewhere, I need a virtual private network to keep stuff private and stuff. So for the Azure subscription and the resource group, we're going to keep it the same. I'm currently residing in the East US, so I'm going to keep that the same. And for my virtual network name, I'm going to name it CoreServicesVnet. Alrighty, now I'm going to click next. Now I'm going to leave everything here the same as default. Don't really want to change anything here. And next we're going to go to IP addresses. So IP addresses, I'm going to change this. One thing that stands out with me in terms of IP addresses, 1 second, 0.0. So one thing that stands out with me in terms of IP addresses is the difference between like kind of on-prem and the cloud is for the cloud, they take away 5, let's say 5 routes, I would call it. 5 routes, whereas like on-prem is about, I believe, 2 or 3, but they take away 5, which is 0.0, 0.1, 0.2, 0.0, 0.0, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, and 255. So they take away those. So you'll see right here once I create it and go to the actual resource what I'm talking about. And then another thing that's interesting is, well, not interesting, but just a fact that people should know as you keep going up in a range of, let's just say, CIDR, the pool of addresses gets smaller. So it's important when you're in an organization to map out your IP address range and the size, because you want to make sure you don't cut yourself short of IP addresses, or you don't want to overlap with IP addresses for another thing. So for right now, we're gonna use, let's see, we're gonna do 10.20. See, 10.0 over 24. Alrighty. Everything else looks good. We have to change this to share services subnet. Alright, we're gonna add. So now we're gonna go to tags. Tags is like where you want to organize something, but for right now we're currently just gonna leave it default. And then we're gonna hit review and create. See that validation is passed, so we're able to create it now. And we're gonna create. So we're gonna wait for this to load. But yeah, that was just like kind of interesting thing as my Azure journey has been taking place, is just knowing, okay, you have to know where stuff is at all times and stuff, and in terms of like when you're actually in an organization and you have to map out your domains, your IP addresses, so you make sure you don't have overlapping IP addresses. Alrighty, so that's created, and we can see that we have the address space here with the subnets. And now we're going to do is we're going to go to the automation tab, and this is going to carry over into task 2, which is creating an automation through the Visual Studio. So we're waiting for this. We're going to hit download for this. This is going to download all of this. And here is the code that we will need. So basically, this is the ARM template that we're going to put into Visual Studio, but now we're going to just change it up a little bit in terms of create another one using like different settings. Alrighty. So now we're going to go to Virtual Studio. And as you can see, I don't know if you guys can see it. I'll try to move it down a little bit. Oh, I'll move it down right here. So now what we're going to do for this is we're going to paste the code. So this is the code that we wanted, but now this time we're going to just create a group from Virtual Studio, and we're going to change some of the content up within this file. So our first test is we're going to replace all occurrences of core services, all CoreServicesVnet with, and we're going to change it to ManufacturingVnet. Alrighty. We're going to change this. With ManufacturingVnet. We're going to change this. It's kind of cool that you can edit a lot of things from PowerShell, whether it's the computer PowerShell, you just have to sign on to Azure or Visual Studio, or just the portal itself in terms of Azure. VNet. Alrighty. Let's see, do we have anywhere else? Right here. Let's see, we have to just, might be a little tedious, but we just got to make sure that we take out all the stuff that it's not supposed to be there. Take FACT VNet. Let's see. VNet. Just a couple more, if I believe. FACTOR VNet. Like kind of one of the good things of, let's say, Azure is that they have templates for you. Like if I didn't have this, they would have templates for you. It's just you have to replace this stuff by itself. But in the long run, it feels like it saves you just a tad bit more work in terms instead of writing everything out. CTR VNet. All right, and that's it for that. And we're gonna place all of the 10.20.0.0 with 10.30. We got to make sure we change the IP addresses as well because we don't want overlapping IP addresses from something we created in the portal of Azure to something we create in Visual Studio. Ten point 20.0.0. Let's see, is that just the only one? Zero 10.30. We're gonna come back to that one later. I'm just looking at the 10.20.0.0s. 10.20.0.0, 10.30. Alrighty, let's see, we'll keep going. Alright, I believe that's all of those. So now we're going to make changes to the subnets. So all the subnets that have 10.20.10.0 over 24, we're going to change those to 10.30.20.0 over 24. So 10, we have to look for the ones with 10.20.10. 10. So right here, 10.20.10 over 24, we're changing it to 10.30. 20. Excuse me. Well, yeah, 10.30.20 over 24. Let's see, 10.20.10. We're changing that to 10.30.20. I believe that's the only two. Alrighty. Now we're going to change all the occurrences of database subnet to sensor subnet 2. So just change the wording. So we have to look for database subnet next. Let's see. Subnet. Not finding it even at the moment. I didn't find any right there. We'll look for it one more time. Let's see. Database subnet. We have to look for database subnet. All right, here's it. Well, it's not it. I don't see any error. Well, we're just gonna leave it how it is right now then. All right, then one of the last things we're gonna do is change our occurrences of 10.20.20.0 over 24 to 10.30.21.0. So we have to look for 10.20.20. So let's see. 10.20.20. Let's see. 10.20. Alrighty, let's have it. So we should be good. And now we're going to save our changes. File. Save. And we're going to save this right into here. So it should be good now. We're going to save. Alrighty, now we're gonna head back to Azure. And then what we're gonna do now is parameters. And then we're going to, oh, gotta go back. Virtual networks. Just go back. Sometimes I don't, I'd rather for it to just be all the way at the beginning on the whole screen rather than looking at it from the side. Waiting for this to currently load. We're gonna go to parameters. And then what we're gonna do is I'm gonna open up the file that I just saved it in. Download virtual network lab. One of the easy ways you can do this is copy. Alrighty, now we're gonna go back. And we're going to paste what we just had over there into here. And now what we're going to do is press deploy. So we're going to use this, yep. This is fine. Go to next. That's fine. Now we're going to create. Now it's basically creating the template that we just had in there in terms of Visual Studio. We just put it all back into Azure. Azure, I hear multiple people call it multiple things. And then we're gonna wait for it already. So now we're gonna go here. So we can see that our resource was successfully deployed with this template now. Alrighty, now we're gonna move on to task 3. And task 3 is to create and configure communication between an application security group and a network security group. So in this test, we're gonna go to application security group. There we go. And from here, we're gonna hit create. So we're gonna use the description that we have been using. We're gonna use the resource group that we have been using as well. And for the name, I'll put asg-web. Alrighty. And then for the sake of this lab, we're not going to go through the tags because I said what tags was earlier. So now we're going to just go to review and create. And we're going to just create everything passed out in terms of validation passed. So now we see that this is created. Now what we're going to do is go to network security group and create a network security group and associate it with the CoreServicesVnet. Network security group. We're going to select create right here. Then we're going to make sure that's the resource group. And then we're going to put myNSGSecure. One thing I've realized is sometimes I get confused of not saying what the difference is between application security group and network security group, but I just have to remember one of the key things is application security group goes inside of a network security group, basically. Network security group is the broad thing, whereas the application security group kind of communicates with the apps, allowing like, okay, this app is allowed to communicate with this app, let's say. At least that's how I remember it. So we're going to hit review and create. And we're going to create this. Thank you all for sticking with this video. I know it's kind of a long lab. So now we're going to go to resource. And we're going to go to settings. So one thing with just want to point this out because I feel like this is very important with priority rules. So the lower priority rule always wins in a sense. So for example, these are the default ones that Azure has before let's say in the future I would have to make some of my own. But 65,000, 65,001, and 65,500. So the lower one always comes first in terms of let's just say on a scale from 0 to 100,000. The one that let's just say priority 1 has more of an effect than the one at priority 100,000. So you just have to make sure what you want, you have to put in the correct priority order. Alright, so now we're going to go to settings right here. We're going to go to subnets. And then the subnets, I'm going to click associate. CoreServicesVnet right here. And then I'm associated with the shared service VNet. Or excuse me, shared service subnet. I'm going to hit OK. So now that said connected successfully. We're going to go to the network security group this time. Let's see, where is it at? Just add it up. Right here. Okay, then from the network security group, we're going to select inbound, go to settings and go to inbound security rules, and then we're going to click add. So the source, for the source, oh, sorry about that. For the source, we're going to go to application security group. And then the source application security groups, you're going to select asg-web. One thing you realize is like what I was saying to earlier in terms of application security groups and network security groups, they work together. So it's more of like the way I remember it best is application security groups work inside of a network security group. So source port range, we're going to leave like this. Destination, we're going to select or stay with any. Service, we're going to do custom. Any port ranges, we're going to do 80,000. 80,443. Protocol, we're going to go TCP. So the difference between TCP and UDP is transmission control protocol it's a little slower than UDP, but it lets you know what packets are delivered, whereas UDP is the fastest, but you don't know what is being delivered across the network or if the other person has received that data. All right, we're going to go to allow. Priority is going to be 100, and the name is going to be allow ASG. And then we're going to hit add. So we see here we're going to allow the ASG, and that comes at priority 100. So basically, this has control or priority versus every other rule that's in the inbound security rules. So now we're going to go to outbound security rules, and we're going to click add as well. So the source, we're going to click any, or any is still there. And then for destination, we're going to use service tag. Internet is fine right here. Custom is fine as well. Destination port range, we're going to just put this star right here. And for protocol, we're going to select any. Action, we're going to put deny. And the priority, we're going to put 4096. And the name is going to be deny internet outbound. We're going to hit add. So basically the two tests that I just did was allow allow port 80 and port 443, that's HTTP and HTTPS, in terms of what traffic I want coming in. I just say 80,443 is kind of similar, but neither here nor there. And then for outbound, I deny internet from, if I'm correct, let me just look at this rule. I deny internet from like the service tag in a sense. So yes. And lastly, we're going to go to task 4. In task 4, we're going to configure public and private Azure DNSs. So let's see, we're going to go to DNS zones. DNS. And we're going to hit create. So the subscription and the resource group, we're going to always keep it the same for right now. And then for this, we're going to, I personally like to call it Costco, but it's not Costco. Kotoso. We'll call it Kotoso. And then it must be to kotoso.com. Let's see. We could just make up any, so .com, okay. And then we're going to go to resource group. It's the US East region. Next, we're going to hit review and create. And then we're going to create it. So this is basically just creating like the, let's say the interface, or yeah, the interface of me be able to access the web. So we're going to go to resource. We're going to go to resource, and then now we're going to click overview. We're going to expand the DNS management, and then click record set. Then now we're going to add. So the name we're going to give this is www A-type. So A-type is IPv4 addresses, whereas AAA or quadruple A is IPv6 addresses. And we're going to use IPv4 for the time being right now. Time to live is 1, so how much time it goes back and forth. And the IP address is going to be 10.1.1.4. And we're going to click add. Alrighty. Command prompt. So now what we're going to do is open up the command prompt. I'm going to just personally use my command prompt right here. And we're going to do DNS lookup. Let's clear this real quick. So NS lookup www.toso44.com, and the name server name is www. Let's see, lookup www.toso44.com. I might be typing this in wrong. www. Not sure why. Let's go for sure. I don't know why. Let's see. So you try it from here. Let's look up www.contoso44.com. Alrighty, so we can see that we just, oh wait, not sure. Hey, this is great. Whenever there's a problem, we gotta solve it. Might be typing. Let's see. So I'm trying to figure out what is causing it to have trouble. TOSO44.com. We're going to come back to this just for the sake of this lab because I know it's a long lab and I don't want to just bore you guys at the moment. So one of the last steps we're going to do is configure a private DNS. So we're going to look up private DNS zones. I'm going to hit create. And for the name, we're going to put private CONTOSO44.com. East US, that's fine. We're going to hit review and create. So once this is created, we're going to go to the resource. Thank you all for sticking here throughout this long video. I know it's a long video, but thank you for bearing with me. So now it's created. We're going to go to this resource. We're going to expand DNS management. Then we're going to click virtual network links. We're going to add a virtual network link. The link name is going to be manufacturing link. And a virtual network is going to be manufacturing. We're going to do the CoreServicesVnet for the time being. And then we're going to hit create. And once we hit create, that's basically the whole lab. The lab purpose was to create PowerShell. Well, create the template from PowerShell, create a virtual network from here, and create a private network. And thank you all for staying here throughout the lab, and have a great one. Well, after this has deployed. All right, I think it just got deployed. All right, so have a great one, everyone.